Roland Martin has a lot of black people pissed off this week. He's receiving a lot of backlash from Tariq Nasheed and others who identify with Tariq Nasheed based on his comments about FBAs on multiple episodes of his shows this week.
In this Leonard memo, they literally were demanding that the French military institute Jim Crow because they felt black soldiers were going to be too uppity because the French were respecting them as human beings. So why do I say all of this? And by the way, you need to go watch the Harlem Hellfighters. By the way, you should go watch the W.B. Du Bois documentary that's on PBS to get an understanding of his thinking when it came to Pan-Africanism. I'm saying all of this because we should stop this nonsense of listening to these idiots who yell, "You a tether, you a tether." Oh, I know them fools. Because I once stated, and I have no problem saying it, that my maternal, paternal ancestors migrated from Haiti. These same dumbasses, these FBA people, "Oh, you a tether, you a tether." No, I was born in Houston. In fact, Riverside Hospital is celebrating the black folks that were born in that hospital on Friday, on Juneteenth. That is happening. My mom and daddy were born in Houston. My grandparents were born in Louisiana. And I'm like, do y'all ignore my maternal line, my paternal and paternal line? So if I got four grandparents and one line migrated from Haiti, the other three don't count. See, that's the stupidity we're getting into. We got black folks who sitting there going, "Yeah, I'm FBA, you ain't real."
What I think is unfair is Tariq Nasheed created the term FBA, and that was inspired by Dr. Claude Anderson. But there are black Americans who believe in delineation, who believe their ancestry and their heritage don't begin in Africa. But those black Americans do not classify themselves with the term Tariq Nasheed created. They don't associate themselves with Tariq Nasheed. But Tariq Nasheed would have you believe that if you criticize him and people who support him, then you are going against all black Americans. That if you criticize him and his xenophobia, then you're attacking all black Americans, when not all black Americans identify with the term Tariq Nasheed created. They know what their heritage and their ancestry is. They believe in delineation, but they do not agree with Tariq Nasheed and xenophobia, and they do not classify themselves with the term he created. Right? Black Americans have their heritage, have their ancestry. There are black Americans delineating far before Tariq Nasheed. So I think it's very unfair that when somebody criticized Tariq Nasheed and his supporters who classify themselves as FBA, they take that as, "Oh, you're criticizing all black Americans." When no, you're criticizing Tariq Nasheed and his supporters. Tariq Nasheed has done a brilliant job at weaponizing the term he created against anybody he doesn't like. Roland Martin was born here. Roland Martin parents were born here. Roland Martin grandparents were born here. 3/4 of Roland Martin great-grandparents were born here. But Tariq Nasheed will still call Roland Martin a tether. And you know why? Because he don't like Roland Martin. Tariq Nasheed is denying Roland Martin's claim to his lineage because he don't like him, right? So if Roland Martin is a tether, when he was born here, his parents were born here, his grandparents were born here, his 3/4 of his great-grandparents were born here, right? The overwhelming majority of his lineage dates back to civil rights and to slavery, but Roland Martin is a tether according to Tariq Nasheed because he doesn't like him. When black Americans have claimed their lineage, like black Americans have delineated far before Tariq Nasheed and that term he created. So criticizing Tariq Nasheed and his supporters will be seen as you criticizing all black Americans by them, because that's the trick that Tariq Nasheed pulled, right? Like they will say that I'm anti-black Americans and I'm a quote unquote tether when I criticize Tariq Nasheed and his supporters. Even though I've been on record saying I support the delineation of black Americans, I support the fight for reparations, I support it 100%, and I think reparations belongs to black Americans. Even though, again, I'm a strong advocate for, if other groups of black people, Haitians, Nigerians, Ghanaians, if they get to be proud of their culture and they get to identify uniquely with their culture, then why shouldn't black Americans? So I support delineation, I support reparations, and I support everything that the black Americans that I know are fighting for. right? I'm an ally. So, but I still get called anti-Black Americans because I don't agree with Tariq Nasheed and his hateful rhetoric. But all of a sudden, I become anti-Black American when I say I don't agree with Tariq Nasheed saying that babies born in Africa are born musty. I don't agree with Tariq Nasheed reiterating white supremacy talking points by claiming there's nothing positive about certain cultures in Africa, like Liberian culture and Somalian culture and Nigerian culture. Really, bro, there's nothing positive about a culture to an entire group of people? Really, bro? Really? Like, there's nothing positive at all? You're right? Like these people have never contributed nothing positive to the world, really? Right? So when he reiterates these talking points, when he calls groups of people racial slurs, right? When he spews xenophobic, hateful talking points like the ones I just reiterated, and it's like, damn, bro, I'm all of a sudden anti-Black American because I don't support him and people who support him. Roland Martin is now a tether, even though his ancestry dates back here, because he don't support Tariq Nasheed and people who support Tariq Nasheed. You feel me? It's because Tariq Nasheed has done a pretty great job at conditioning people to think that if you go against Tariq Nasheed, you're going against an entire group of Black Americans. Well, no, that's not the fact. Like, Black Americans identify with their lineage, they identify with delineation, they identify with their heritage, and they don't believe they're African Americans. They believe they're Black Americans, and they were born here before Tariq Nasheed and after Tariq Nasheed. And the overwhelming majority of Black Americans believe in their heritage and their lineage and don't agree with Tariq Nasheed. So attacking Tariq Nasheed and his xenophobia and people who think like Tariq Nasheed is not an attack on Black Americans or Black American culture. It is an attack on Tariq Nasheed and people who think like Tariq Nasheed. We'll continue this conversation on another episode of his show this week. Now, I don't agree with everything Roland Martin had to say this time around, because I don't agree that it's the duty of Black Americans to stick up for immigrants that are being deported after their TPS status, got terminated. I don't think it's their obligation. I don't think it's their duty. I think they're perfectly in their right to say, hey, bruh, y'all on y'all own, man. You feel me? That ain't our business. I think they have a right to say that, and I don't think they should be shamed for saying that.
Y'all might have saw that thing flash right there. That's quite interesting, because it's October of this year, 2025. 4,499 refugees have been allowed into the United States. 4,496 of those folks have been white South Africans. That is a fact. What we are seeing here, Matt, is pure, unadulterated racism. And what we have to deal with here, Michael and Nicole, is that when these ADOS FBA people, when they spout language, the anti-immigration language, even anti-Black immigration language, they sound just like Tom Emmer. They sound just like Stephen Miller. They sound just like Donald Trump. They literally, Michael, are speaking for white nationalists.
Absolutely. Is white supremacy through ventriloquism.
If this was in reference to the people who are in support of ICE, who are in support of the deportation of these immigrants, who are in support of Stephen Miller, racist immigration policies, understood. But if this was referencing just anybody who says, hey, bruh, it's not my business. Quite frankly, I don't care what happens to him. I got my own thing going on over here, right? I'm Black American. I'm not Haitian. I don't care about Haitian or other immigrants. If that's referencing to them, then I think you're wrong, because they have a right to support what they want to support, and they have a right to ignore what they want to ignore. And if they say, hey, man, we got our stuff going on over here, that ain't our business, leave us alone, then they have every right to do that. And, and it's not right to, to shame them into, trying to support this, or shame them into trying to march with these folks or support these folks, right? It's not their business. If they don't want to support, they don't have to support. However, standing by while somebody get jumped is a lot different than joining in on the jumping. So if you stand by and say, hey, man, it's not my business. I don't know you from a can of paint, bruh. I'm not hopping in when them folks jump you, bruh. Handle your own candle. Handle on your own. Leave me alone. That's one thing. They can't really blame you, right? If they made their own issues and they're getting jumped, they can't blame a total stranger for not stepping in to defend them. However, if that total stranger hops in and begins to attack them too, aka they begin to speak out in support of the deportation, they begin to speak out in support of Stephen Miller's racist immigration policies, they begin to join in with the white supremacists to go against the immigrants. Now, like, you're foul. Like, that's one thing, and you're foul for that. But if it's not your business and you don't care, then nobody can shame you for that, right? You have your right to ignore what you want to ignore. But ignoring and then hopping in and supporting it is one thing, right? And I think he's referring to a specific group of people, a very specific niche of people on social media, on Twitter, who identify with Tariq Nasheed, right? Again, a very small group, not all Black Americans, a very small group of people who identify with Tariq Nasheed. They're saying deport them all. They're saying F them immigrants. They're jumping in with the white supremacists to attack these immigrants. And that's where I think the problem lies. Because you could sit by and say, hey, man, that ain't our business. Leave us alone, bro. Y'all handle your own, right? Y'all come here and y'all undermine us and y'all are disrespectful to us and y'all say things like, oh, we work harder. Y'all don't work hard at all. And you guys join in with the white supremacists, some of y'all, to undermine Black Americans. So hence, we don't feel like we now got to defend you from the very same white supremacists that you link up with when you get here. Handle your own. They're 100% justified. But saying, hey, I'm finna jump in with the white supremacists and help them attack you and help them go at you and help them victimize you, that's different, bro. And that's foul. But so far, I think the overwhelming of Black Americans who are, you know, like watching this issue, don't really care about this issue. And they don't, you feel me? And they've been minding their own business, and shaming them for minding their own business is wrong.
That's what it is. And it reminds me of three quick points here. It reminds me of a political meme I saw in the past couple of weeks from urban intellectuals on Facebook. And it said, the cockroach, out of hatred for the ant, voted for insecticide, and the fly, out of apathy, didn't vote at all, and they all died because of the consequences of an election. Okay, and this is how you get a white nationalist, white supremacist like Stephen Miller, who's deputy chief advisor to Donald Trump. This is the same Stephen Miller who headed up American First Legal, who rounded up white farmers to sue the U.S. government to block the $5 billion from the American Rescue Plan that was going to go to Black farmers and farmers of color that John Boyd talked about here on this show a number of times, that dealt with discrimination against farmers of color. That was that white supremacist, white nationalist right there that rounded them up to block that. And then right now, I've said this before on the show, Roland, right now on the State Department's website, there is a level 4 travel advisory warning Americans do not travel to Haiti because of crime, violence, because of poor health care, things of this nature. And you're going to send 350,000 back there. So, and lastly, for all the Black people who out here talking about reparations, this same goddamn government is suing Evanston, Illinois to block $25,000 of reparations to Black people. So where the hell are you going to get reparations from?
To be fair, I don't think he was talking about Tariq Nasheed right here. I think he was talking about ADOS and the downvoting recommendation, because if you're downvoting a Democratic candidate, you might as well just vote for a conservative, because you downvoting a Democratic candidate is just leaving room for a conservative to just win. Right? Like, downvoting Democrat is voting conservative. So if you're voting conservative and just granting a pathway to have conservatives just walk into office because you're telling like all Black folks who support you to downvote Democrats, then he's like saying, hold on, bro. Okay, so if the white supremacists get into office and the conservatives get into office, you think they'll be more receptive to reparations talk? Obviously not. But that's a problem for ADOS. I don't think Tariq Nasheed supports downvoting. I'm not going to put that on him because I don't know. I think he was talking about ADOS, but I do believe that Black Americans should still push for reparations regardless of who's in office because they deserve it, right? It was promised to them, and that's their right. But let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, man? If you're still watching this video and you want to watch another good video, click on this video right here somewhere on my screen, somewhere here or here or here, to find out why Chud the Builder, apparently they have found themselves their first black token, and it's ridiculous. It's disgusting. I'm gonna see you guys in this video right here somewhere on my screen. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.